Right, Shalom, brethren. First of all, I'd like to say all praises unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and give double honors unto the elders of Great Millstone, and praises to the brothers out there on the highways and the byways teaching this word in sincerity and in truth. Right, we're doing another video here. This is the brother Akaya Kwan from GMS London, doing a vid for GMS Biblical Science. Today the topic is going to be basically heliocentricity, versus geocentricity, right? Which one has to be a lie and one has to be the truth. Okay, well, according to the Bible, geocentricity, or the earth being the center of the universe, is biblical, meaning the sun, the stars, whatever, revolve around the earth. Then you have the fallacy of the heliocentrism, which basically deduces that the sun, as you can see here, the sun is the center of the solar, well, basically that we're in a so-called solar system, which is which that in itself is witchcraft, man, because that's again putting the focus on the sun. But basically that heliocentrism, meaning the sun is in the center and the earth and the other planets, stars, revolve around the sun. Now what you're gonna find out is that whole concept is based upon sun worship. It was never based upon scientific facts. It was based upon sun worship, because the number one deity which is worshipped throughout the ancient world, and even to this very day, as it is evident, is the sun. Out of the hosts of heaven, the sun is one of the major it's one of the major bodies in the heaven, which is worshipped by these other nations and these wicked ass 2/3 niggas, man. So what I'm gonna do, first I'm just gonna go into solar deity in Wikipedia, just to give a background to show that's the case. So this is solar deity, solar meaning sun deity. It says sun god. Now when you go down, it says a solar deity, also sun god or goddess, is a sky deity who represents the sun or an aspect of it, usually by its perceived power and strength. Solar deities and sun worship can be found throughout most of recorded history in various forms. Hence many beliefs have formed around this worship, such as the missing sun found in many cultures. And then it goes on to show you Hinduism, ancient Egypt, which this is the sun here. If you look over here in the statue, you got the sun here in the middle. Then the horns represent the moon, which represents the male and the female deity, right? The sun being the male deity, the moon being the female deity. Subsequently, that's where you get your Allah from. Sun deities, examples of sun deities, if I'm not mistaken, you have Horus, Tammuz, I'm trying to think of some more sun deities. In fact, let's just get that. I remember I had a list of sun gods. Okay, right, so you got Ra, Horus, Sekhmet, Helios, Apollo, yeah? Right, just to name a few. Okay, so You know, solar worship was heavy, especially in the ancient world, and still to this very day, because nothing ain't changed. Now when you go to the let's get Deuteronomy, I believe it's the Lord warned Israel from such things, man. There we go. Thought so. Right. This is Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter and the 9th verse. It says, "Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven." So it says the sun, the moon, and the stars, which the stars include planets, man, right? Because the word star just means an illuminated body in the heavens. Planets are also illuminated bodies, right? Planets also emit what you would call photons or light to a certain degree. So in ancient times, when you looked up, the very fact that you would see a planet is because it is emitting light, because we see through light. So you know, you got scoffers out there like bubble-eyed blackfish, who would say that, you know, the planets are fallen angels, planets don't exist. That's a damn lie. In fact, if we go straight up and we get that word stars, the word there is kawab, no, kawakab, right? And it tells you there star, right? Now when you look up the word star in the dictionary, it says any of the heavenly bodies except the moon, appearing as fixed luminous points in the sky at night. Any of the large self-luminous heavenly bodies as the sun. Any heavenly body. Okay, right? So we go back to Deuteronomy 4:19. It says, "Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun," because the sun, see, people are simple-minded, man. The sun is a great light, as the Lord have made it in the sky. So these simple-minded fucking heathens, because it began with them, and 2/3 of you simple-minded Jake reverence the sun because it illuminated the day with fervent heat. And in night, and the moon, so you saw the moon and the stars and all the hosts of heaven, right? And you were driven to worship them because you saw the glory of them, not knowing the glory of him which made them, right? So it says, shouldst be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. So these other nations, it was given unto them to worship the stars in the heavens, man, because they're heathens. They don't know no fucking better. Okay, but showing you even back then, you had the worship of the sun, and the sun was above all other forms of worship. Right? Now let's deal with what we're dealing with. So we've already established now that you had the sun worship. The Lord warned us against sun worship. I showed you where you had Israelites doing this sun worship, and this sun worship business or sun deity existed in every society in history, man. Even among Israel, even though it was condemned by the laws of our God Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But where did we learn that from? We got that worship of the hosts of heaven from the other nations, because that's what they would do. Okay, so then we're gonna go to this heliocentrism, and as you can see, The model over here is a heliocentric universe, and the sun being the center. Now, when you generally, the reason why they want to put the sun at the center is because they worship the sun. So that's like them for them. It's like you ever heard the saying, you think the whole world revolves around you? Someone who loves themselves and highly esteems themselves, it's likened unto them saying that the world revolves around you. So for people who worship the sun, right, it didn't make sense to them, or they worship the sun, it didn't make sense to them that the earth would revolve around the sun, that the sun would revolve around the earth, making it as really a subordinate to the earth. Because it's something revolving around something, that tends to mean that it's in service of, right? Like when you're in a company, the whole company is really revolving around the boss. Okay, people are working around you. You understand? So let's read some of this. It says heliocentrism or heliocentrism is the astronomical model in which the Earth and the planets revolve around a stationary sun at the center of the universe. The word comes from the Greek helios for sun and kentron for center. Historically, heliocentrism was opposed by geocentrism, which is what is upheld by the Holy Scriptures, which placed the earth at the center. The notion that the earth revolves around the sun had been proposed as early as the 3rd century by Aristarchus of Samos, but had received no support from most other ancient astronomers. Right? So basically, when you came down to the time of the Greeks were so forward in their worship of the sun that they wanted to change the commonly known fact that the sun revolved around the earth, and they wanted to flip that to give high praises unto the sun, because the Greeks were sun worshippers. Okay, right? And Apollo was one of their highest gods. It says it was not until the 16th century, right, when 16th century when the so-called white man, who was that Greek, who was ruling over the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire, it was not until the 16th century that a fully predictive mathematical model of a heliocentric system was presented by the Renaissance mathematician, astronomer and Catholic cleric Nicholas Copernicus, leading to the Copernican revolution, which I'm gonna show you in this that was all bullshit. Okay, that was all just fancy numbers, but that's not what we observe in the universe. In the following century, this model was elaborated and expanded by Johannes Kepler, and supporting observations made as a telescope were presented by Galileo and Galilei. Now, all these men we're speaking of have one thing in common: they were all what? They were all sun worshippers, man. Right? And they all had a hatred of the Holy Scriptures, man. Right? Of the Most High. And here it goes into the heliocentric model going back to the Greeks. Right? So a madness. And then when the white man took over in the Renaissance period, they did that shit. Here we have the Persians, they dabbled in that madness. Right? So we discussed heliocentricity, the worship of the sun, right? Now we're going to get a little background on the geocentric model before we get into some scriptures and let the word speak. So here we have the geocentric model. In astronomy, the geocentric model, also known as geocentrism, or the Ptolemaic system, is the superseded theory that the Earth is the center of the universe.